Hi, folks. Dr. Jim Gishwin here. Well, a lot of things going on, and trust me, we're still going to war. Okay? I am confident that the Chinese will do something, and they're preparing for war. Uh, Apparently, the administration thinks so because they called up the reserves. Unless they called up the reserves because they're afraid of a civil war, I don't know what's going on there. It's hard to get into that very confused mind of the leader that we have right now. A very confused mind. Anyway, and every time, if you've noticed, connect the dots. This last indictment of Trump, for God's sake, he said, go down and peacefully and patriotically let your voices be heard. That's what they do all the time on the mall. Okay? And as far as asking for a recount of votes in the Electoral College, that has been done 6 times in our history. All it takes is for a couple congressmen to get one senator on their side when the electoral votes are being counted. And they can sit there and send the delegates back to the state to sit there and get reaffirmed, get double-checked. They can if they feel that there's enough voter fraud. And just remember, just because the courts would not hear cases of voter fraud doesn't mean there wasn't any. And it doesn't mean there wasn't any evidence. As time has gone by, there has been more and more evidence. Now, luckily, some of these states have sat there and rewritten their laws. What that one court case was that the Texas Attorney General brought was because a lot of the things that came up and changes that were made to voting in different states were done by the Secretary of State in those states and not by the legislatures, which the Constitution demands has to be done. Okay? So that's what they were seeking redress on. And as far as complaining, Trump complaining that he had lost it by having it stolen, he's not the first one. Hillary Clinton did that. Al Gore did that. Okay? It has happened a number of times in our history of our United States. So don't think this is something new. I teach history. I live, eat, and breathe history as an intelligence person, retired or not. Okay? That has always helped me. When I was an intelligence specialist, I studied up on Russian and Chinese history. Know your opponents. Okay? I'm taking courses now. The weirdest one is I'm taking a Harvard Extension course on justice from Harvard. Okay, we shall see. I don't think I'm going to come out well in that one. Okay, because I'll probably dispute something here and there that they try and put out. We'll see how that works. Anyway, back to business. Okay, these charges are so flimsy, and they did not. This is the same guy. The prosecutor is the same guy that was the prosecutor for the impeachments while Trump was in. And he failed every time. So I think he's going to fail here, too, because he's really rushed charges out there. And they were rushed out, if you haven't noticed, immediately after someone got closer to Biden. And let's talk about this, too. Okay, so we're getting the understanding that Hunter was the bag man for Joe, the big guy. Okay? But remember when Joe bragged about it on TV, about firing that prosecutor? He sat there and said that these people said, you can't do that. You're not the president. And he said, call him. Remember that. He said, call him. That meant Biden knew. Obama knew. And Hillary probably knew, too, because John Kerry's son and nephew or something like that was also involved in that Burisma thing. That was also one of the partners with Hunter on that stuff. It was a clique of the bad kids. Okay, just like we hear about the child actors and whatnot, the children of other actors being the snotty crowd or bad crowd in Hollywood. Well, that was the politician side of it. So, understand that. Does that mean that Joe's the bagman really for Obama? Obama appointed his point man for the Ukraine, and the Ukraine was being used as a piggy bank by every politician in Washington, D.C. So basically, going towards Biden was sitting there going towards about 30 years of corruption with a lot of senators, congressmen, State Department leaders, and presidents. So we shall see what's going on. This may be a lot bigger than you think. But I'll guarantee you that the Chinese want to attack before Joe leaves office. And it's pretty sure that he's going to leave office. Every time they charge Trump, his popularity increases and his fundraising increases. When are they going to learn? All they're doing is they're doing the same thing they're accusing him of doing: election interference. They're putting their thumb on the scales. Okay? Now, if you didn't vote for Trump, you are entirely entitled to not vote for him the third time. But it's not up to the Department of Justice to take away that right from you. And that's basically what they're doing. They're taking a right away from you. They're eliminating someone that you may or may not want as president. But that's your choice, not theirs. Whatever happens, I pray and I hope that every single one of these guys that's running, except Pence, I think, Pence was asked to do the same thing that other vice presidents that were counting electoral candidate votes was entitled to do. He was entitled to do it. It's in the Constitution, Mr. Pence. Okay? You're entitled to do that if you believe that there was corruption in one state. You can send those back to get recounted. Okay? Everyone has sat there and said if they get in, they're gonna pardon Trump anyway. All right? And he says he'll run from jail if he has to. And he's being popular enough. Okay? And this judge is the same one that's sitting there giving prison sentences and stuff like that to some of these people that were just wandering around and not rioting in the House at that time, in the Capitol. So, we shall see what goes on. The trouble is they screwed up on this. They screwed up on it because under the terms of discovery, then the defense has to have all the information that the prosecutor has. It's required by law. Okay? It's required by law. It's just like it was stupid for Hunter to sit there and go to court to sit there and get his daggone child support payments reduced. Why? Because then the court can sit there and get his records. How do you think we got his records? How do you think we tracked down all this crap through the through all those 20 different shell companies? I mean, that IRS whistleblower just blew my mind when he was up there saying, man, we were taken off the case. We were told not to do nothing further because we were getting closer to Biden. And we couldn't even interview Hunter. So, what can you say? This is definitely a corrupt Department of Justice, a corrupt FBI. Okay? The Mar-a-Lago thing, unreasonable search and seizure. All this stuff is the Constitution, and all of it, they betrayed the Constitution in all of it. Okay? They're making political judgments. It's just like Stalin said. And I heard one of our congressmen, Democratic congressmen, say the same thing. Show me the person, I'll show you the crime. That's not the way our justice system is supposed to work. Okay? You find the crime first, and then you sit there and find the person. And he's still considered innocent until proven guilty. So just understand this. And we were warned by our founding fathers and the Federalist Papers that this could happen. That if you got too much power in the hands of a few, rather than the separation of powers we were designed to have, that's why whoever gets in there has got to sit there and be like a junkyard dog. If it's not Trump, it's got to be someone like him that'll go in and just tear the place apart. Because it has to be redone. We cannot have so much power in the administrative state. It wasn't designed to be that way. Congress gave away too much of its power to the bureaucracy. And that has to be sit there and cured and solved right now, or else we will not have a republic. We will have a tyranny. And there will probably be a civil war. I won't be alive for it, but I see it coming. I see it coming if they don't sit there and take care of this administrative state business. It's an administrative despotism is what it is. These are people not elected making rules and laws for you. That's not the way it was supposed to happen. You are supposed to be in charge. And so everything Trump says is right. This belongs to you. So everything they're doing to him, they can sit there and do to you. So whatever rights are taken away, okay, the right against illegal searches and seizures, the right against privacy, the right to vote even. They're taking the right to vote away from you. You won't have the chance to either vote for or against him. So it is election interference. They sat there and said they couldn't do that for Hillary, that would be election interference, but now they're doing it to Trump. My students sat there and said I should vote for the Swami guy. He seems pretty interesting. He says he'll go in and clean house too and make it more businesslike. Anyway, we shall see what happens. Take care, folks. I love you. God bless you. I remain your humble servant. And remember, we can't go down the same path that the Roman Empire did and the Greek city-states did. That's exactly what happened to them. Okay? Take care.